Welcome to Backwoods Armory. Today we're going to do, this is my first video, we're going to do an overview on the AR-15 weapons platform. The AR-15 was designed by the Armalite Company in the 1950s by Eugene Stoner, originally as the AR-10. Due to money issues, they sold the copyright to the Colt Firearms Corporation. So AR-15 is a licensed name by, or copyrighted name by Colt, and is sold under many the platform itself is sold under many different names by many different manufacturers. This one I have here is a Phase 5 15 rifle with a DPMS upper and barrel and mag pull furniture. We'll get into that a little later. But it shoots two different types of rounds. It shoots a .223 Remington and a .556, if you can focus in on those right quick. You can see a little bit of difference. If you have a rifle that is .223, I wouldn't shoot .556 out of it due to the pressure difference in the chamber. It can cause long-term damage to the rifle. Since this is basically just an overview about the AR-15, I'll get into more details in our later videos. I'm going to do a short disassemble, basically what's on the inside. If you're buying an AR-15, what you should look for. First off, some external features to look for. If you're like a weekend shooter, you don't really need the forward assist. It is a good feature. It allows you to force the weapon into battery if you can't seat a round. The dust cover, that's a necessity for me. If I buy an AR, it's got to have a dust cover. The shell deflector, if you're a left-handed shooter, is very important because this keeps you from getting a face full of hot brass. On the inside of the rifle is really the more important things to look for when buying an AR. You want to look for, if you are just a weekend shooter or you're not really shooting that often, commercial parts are okay, a commercial bolt carrier. The biggest thing about the bolt carrier group is you want the bolts, the gas key on the top to be staked. Properly staked means, if you focus in, you see how the metal's pinched around those bolts? That means that the bolt carrier is properly staked and the gas key will not move. Now, if you find that it's just Loctited or that the bolt isn't properly staked and it isn't, say it's a little sloppy, it's not pinching over the bolts, your gas key can come loose. Now, this goes to your gas tube, which runs over the top of your barrel, unless you have a piston impingement system, which I'll get into in one of our later videos, the difference between the two. There are lots of different types of bolt carriers. You have bolt carriers that aren't protected on the bottom. You have bolt carriers that are open here. Some that have more material back here. You have nickel-plated boron for your super high-end models that are very expensive. They're worth the money, but they're very expensive. If you are shooting once or twice a week, I would suggest getting a mid-range AR. Or if you're entry level, you're shooting once a week, once every 2 weeks, I would get an AR that is considered an entry level AR. Now we'll get into taking apart the bolt carrier group. First thing you do is you take this pin out. Do not lose this pin. This pin retains the firing pin, and if you lose it, you will have a very bad day. From there, just tap on the bolt itself. Pull out your bolt carrier. This is chrome. It does look a little dirty. That's because I have some lube in here and it's been fired recently. But what it should look like when you buy it, it should be completely chrome. It should look perfect. This is a good thing to buy extras of because these do bend, they do break, but for the most part, if you're taking care of the rifle like it should be okay. After that, you take this holds your firing pin in place. and you pull the bolt itself out. Now I'm not taking this piece apart. You can take it apart further, but this is about as far as I'm going to take it apart from here. This is the bolt itself. You have your ejector where your firing pin goes in. This pulls the round out. Also, the gas rings are located right here. Focus in. And that, if those aren't properly put on or they're old, you will have ejection issues. A good way to find if your bolt carrier group has good gas rings or not is to reassemble your bolt carrier group. Now they make lots of tools for this. I always do it by hand, simply because I don't want to pay the money for the tools. Probably will end up buying one sooner or later. But put it back together. You lock it in the extended position. You lay it on a flat surface, and if it holds that position and does not sink, then your gas or your gas tubes, gas rings, so to speak, are in good shape and are okay. Once it starts sinking, it's about time to replace the gas tubes. Now, putting it back into the receiver, you can take the 2 pins here. You only need to take the back one apart. Take your first, take your charging handle, place it in, then take your bolt carrier group, slide it into the rifle like so. Now it is fully assembled. That's basically a guide to buying your first AR. Since this is an overview, the rifle can be used for many different things. The competition shooters, you have some people use it to hunt predators like coyote, fox, and some even use it for boar hunting. I wouldn't use a 5.56 to boar hunt with, simply because the round's not large enough to do the damage that you want it to do to the boar in the first round. I would use a 300 blackout or a 7.62. These also come in various calibers. You have an AR-10, which is made in 308. The lower receiver that I have says multiple calibers here, and can shoot 300 blackout, 7.62. Basically all the calibers that it's chambered in that fit a standard magazine. I have polymer mags for this. I'll be getting more mags to show what mags are the best, or what mags that I like to use. That's basically it for this video. Leave any suggestions, anything I may have left out in the comments. This is my first video. Any subscriptions would